I say, let's go and let's try to change an historical club from zero. So when we were demoted to the third division, we completely renewed the team. And now we are 5 years in a row in the first division, no?
Hello and welcome to the Sports Pundit Podcast, the show for people shaping the future of sport. Driven by my curiosity working in the industry, I've brought together leading executives to host conversations with decision makers across innovation, marketing, media, finance and performance, unpacking their strategies and industry-shaping ideas. On today's episode, I'm joined by Alfonso Díaz, the Chief Executive Officer of the business area at Real Mallorca, a club whose transformation in the past decade has been nothing short of remarkable. Alfonso has been with the club since 2016, initially as the CFO. Prior to that, he's held senior finance and commercial roles at global companies like LG Electronics and brings a multi-industry perspective to running a modern football organization. He's played a key role in Mallorca's return from Spain's third tier to LaLiga and in positioning the club as an international platform for sustainable sports tourism, premium experiences, and global partnerships. The club is backed by an ownership group that includes Andy Kohlberg, Steve Nash, Steve Kerr, and Stu Holden. And the club has doubled down on its long-term thinking, investing in a €30 million stadium renovation and achieving strategic growth in markets like Japan, Korea, and the US. In this conversation, we explore how Mallorca has rebuilt itself structurally and commercially, and what comes next for a club that's aiming to be more than just a football team. I'd also like to give my thanks to Social Football Summit, an event designed for innovative content, sharing, networking, and education in the football industry. Its inception aimed to build a dynamic and innovative ecosystem with the objective of creating opportunities for encounters between authoritative figures and key players in the football industry. Figures like Alfonso, who I was lucky enough to interview on stage at the latest edition in November, consider this conversation a follow-on from that initial interaction, where we go even deeper into exactly what's making Mallorca just so unique. So without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Alfonso Díaz. Thanks so much for joining me on the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here and to see you again, having spoken a couple of weeks ago now in Turin. Hopefully this is a chance to go a little bit more in depth than 30 minutes allowed on stage.
No, thank you. Thank you to you, Andy, and to your podcast. We enjoyed a lot in Turin, so it was a pleasure to meet you and happy to be here.
Yeah, perfect. Well, where I like to start all these conversations is just to give the listeners a little bit of a understanding of the person. So maybe we could begin with you just giving a little bit of a debrief of kind of your career journey to date, now heading up, at the business side of Mallorca.
Yeah. Well, I joined the club 10 years ago, but before I was in a completely different world. I was not in the sport business. My background is finance. I'm bachelor and degree in business administration, and I work in a multinational environment. I was working in General Electric. I was working in LG Electronics, and my background has been always finance, controller of finance. So, this is how I grow and how professionally. And at some point, 10 years ago, in April 26th, I'm going to be here 10 years. That's a lot. It's a life. I had the chance to join the club, and I said, well, why not? I was based in Madrid. I grew up in Madrid. I was born in Sevilla, but I grew up in Madrid. I studied there and started working there. But I decided to move. Now we're in Mallorca. It's a nice island in the middle of Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah.
And I say, yes, let's go. Let's try. It was a challenge to me, and I like the challenges. So I decided to come. I saw all the people that was behind. I received a call from Maita Molango, that was the former CEO of the club. And I said, okay, let's go, let's try. It was just the beginning of a new project now with these owners that with the name on the table, they were amazing. So I say, let's go and let's try to change an historical club from zero. They arrived on January 2016. I arrived just 2 months later and at the end of March. And from that moment, we start to build completely again from zero the club, historical club with 110 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe for context, for people that are less familiar with the story, you could just provide a little bit of an overview of where was the club when the ownership bought it, and where are you now in that?
Well, yeah, it has been a roller coaster. A roller coaster. When we arrived here, we were in the second division. The reality is that the moment we arrived here, the club was in a very, very complicated situation at all levels. And actually, we were in the middle of a bankruptcy process when the club was bought. It was in the middle of this bankruptcy process with huge payments comparing with the budgets that we had. It was a really complex situation in terms of brand awareness. Nobody wants to be close to the club. So it was tough, but as I said, it was a nice challenge. So we were in the second division. We arrived in the middle of the season. We stay safe in the second division. Next year, we played in the second division 16-17 season, but we were relegated to the third division. It was really tough. So imagine just arriving to a new project and everything we want to do was like completely stopped after this happens, because the situation was like someone else is in the hospital with a flat line. The situation was really, really complicated. So I think that was the something that was going to happen, yes or yes, no? Going to the third division. But to be honest, was the best that could happen at that moment. Now I can say it because we are in a good moment and a good shape. But was the moment to completely restructure the club, start from zero, and do the plan and the project we want to do. No, so we went then to the second division, to the first division. So it means that we went 2 seasons in a row promoting. So after 15 years or 14 years, we promote back to the first division. That was a huge moment. I remember you playing the playoffs for promoting. That is really tough, very long season. So we were there in June in a summer night. We had the final of the playoffs. We lost 2-0 versus Deportivo de La Coruña away. It was so complicated. But at home, we gave all and we won 3-0, 3-0. So it was incredible. I think that I will always remember this experience. That was amazing, no? In front of the fans and for the city. Then we played the first division. It's true that in the first division, first time you arrive after being 14, 15 years out of the first division, it's so complicated to stay. So, but we got the experience, no? Being in the first division for our players, for our club, for all of us, no? We were demoted to the second division again, but we promote directly without playoffs. So if you finish in the first or second division position in the ranking, you promote directly. So we promote directly. And now we are 5 years in a row in the first division. So yes, an incredible journey. We completely restructured the club from zero on and off pitch. So when we were demoted to the third division, we completely renewed the team, the squad, completely new. We also look for new profiles of staff. We make a very strict reduction on number of employees in the club. And we start from zero, no? With talented, young people, and people that really want to make things happen, no? And it was really nice travel since that moment. And right now we are in the first division. We want to be established here, and we pay off the debt. Now just thinking on staying in LaLiga and continue growing.
Well, first off, congrats on the journey so far. It's a very busy 10 years, I can imagine. And like you said, roller coaster is probably the right word to describe it in terms of the ups and downs. But it looks like on the whole, it's been a positive kind of rise. The story, or the beginning of the story, actually reminds me quite a lot of the story in the UK at the moment playing out, which is Birmingham City, which obviously got taken over by an American group and then immediately got relegated from the Championship down to League One. Obviously, they've now gone back up to the Championship, and in the documentary, they actually talk about, in a similar way, almost a blessing in some regards, in that it gives you permission almost to completely wipe out a lot of the processes, right? Because it's very obviously broken. Whereas if you're kind of clinging on and you're not quite down, maybe it's harder to push through that change. And so actually allowed for them to maybe push through widespread changes at like a faster pace than they would have otherwise been able to. Is it a similar thing that you found in terms of having that initial relegation to the third division allowed you to build things in a new way in the kind of mold of what you and the ownership wanted?
Completely, completely. I think that if this would not have happened, probably we will not have evolved and converted into what we are now. It would have take probably more time, and those decisions that are difficult to take in terms of changing the values of the club, changing the staff, changing the squad. So all these things probably would have not been that fast or that radical, but it was a moment to do. It was difficult, but we had to do it to continue and to survive. So we completely changed everything. An important thing was the mentality and the culture of the locker room, of the players. So we completely tried to change this and to find those players that were going to be really those that take the flag of the new culture, no, and to try to change to what we want to be, no, and a small club and that has to fight always this culture of fight and resilience and try to overcome all the difficult situations that we were going to face.
Yeah. And in terms of that ownership group coming in, obviously it's an American group, and we've seen a lot of American ownership groups come into European sport, some with more success than others. How important is it that you sort of found the right balance, I guess, between bringing over commercial opportunities and commercial learnings from the way that American sport operates, but then also having grown up around the sort of Spanish football ecosystem, you can almost make sure that that is being applied in the correct way to the market that you're in and to the kind of like European ecosystem, because it's obviously not something where it can be just directly translated from, you know, the Phoenix Suns, for example, to Mallorca. It's not going to be quite as straightforward as that.
Well, first of all, the ownership, the American group, they are a group of former athletes, and this is important to say. They understand completely the business and they have a long-term view. They know that you lose more than you win. So they have this passion. Despite we went to the third division, they say, okay, it was a shock for everyone, but they say, okay, let's go for it. This is a long-term project. We are going to continue here. We are going to continue investing. We are going to continue doing the things and the plan we had, no? So that was really important, no? They understand the sports. They have lived it. They have suffered a lot of defeats, losses, and difficulties in the road. We have Andy Kohlberg, our main owner and president, that is a former tennis player. We have Steve Nash, Hall of Fame MVP basketball player. We have Steve Kerr, the current Golden State Warriors coach and national basketball team coach. Also, he played in the Bulls with Jordan in this historical moment of the Bulls. So we have also Stu Holden, that was a former football player. He played in Bolton. He played in the national US team. So they completely understand this. And the profile of owners that we have, they are not looking for a short-term return on the investment. They have this passion on the sport and they like to join and to enjoy the journey. And this is what I believe that they are doing, no? And of course, the good thing is that we have access to the sport industry in US. We can have access to NBA, to NFL. We have been there sometimes. So soccer, of course. So we have access to how the sports industry is managing the business. And we have been there and traveling there, and they have a lot of expertise and a lot of contacts there. So we have tried to understand how US is developing the sports, how they understand this part of entertainment. In Spain, Europe, let's say, no, football is different from an entertainment. It's entertainment, but not. It's like a religion, let's say. So you do always everything you see, positive things that you see or good things that has been developing in US, you have to take the best of that and adapt to your local culture, to your local roots, and with the respect for your fans, no? So this is how we are trying to do. We are trying to be entertainment, but based on our culture, our roots on the island, and trying to people feel that we are having all the respect when we are doing these kind of things. So of course, we have really good access to this industry in the US. And well, day by day, trying to learn and to take the best things on from US.
Yeah, I guess one trend that is further ahead as it relates to the States is these kind of like mixed use real estate projects in terms of like developing a stadium into kind of a 365 opportunity to activate with fans, having other uses for it outside of the matches, because obviously, even if you're playing a full football season, that's only maybe 18 to 30 games a season at home. And so the rest of the time, the stadium can sit empty, right? So is there things you've been able to take or learn from the ownership group as you've kind of embarked on that project? And maybe you could also just explain in a bit more depth kind of the ambition of that project.
Yes, of course. And it's a pity, because I think that now we're in the moment, at least in Spain, in LaLiga, that the clubs realize that this is the way, that the stadiums has to be 365 days open, let's say, that we have to give service to the city, to our community. And these are big facilities, big areas when you can do a lot of things for the city. So this is what we are trying to do. All the 42 clubs in first and second division in La Liga decide to close an agreement to continue growing and investing on our structures and our facilities. So we close an agreement that we call CBC agreement. Okay, so we are trying to completely change the experience, the stadiums, and increase our revenues from that. And we were one of the first making the change. So now it's going to be around 3 seasons ago that we completely renovate our stadium. And of course that we took a look in US because they are number ones on how they use those facilities. Facilities is amazing. Everything they do. They are using the stadium 365. They are having different kind of businesses. Non-match day, they are doing events, they are doing concerts. It's really amazing, what they are doing. So every time I travel to US, it's mandatory to me to go and visit the stadium for sure, taking notes and everything, because everything they are doing is something to copy. And the experience before is different. What experience, how you are doing during the match day with your fans, etc. But how they are managing the stadiums is something that we have to take note and work on it. So in our case, we completely renovate the stadium, always focus on our fans for match day. So we have a running track around. That was not the best thing for the experience during the match day. So we were 45 meters away in the goals and around 25 meters away in the sides. So we put the stands closer to the action, to the game. So our players really feel it and really say that it was a big change because they felt that now the fans were there, the crowd was there, and the fans, they enjoyed being closer to the action. We improved the accesses. We completely changed all the seats, the stands. We have like a ring below. The lower ring was completely done new. We improved our food and beverage. We improved the accesses to our stadium, reducing the time to access the stadium, reducing the queues. We have a new fan zone where previous to the game, we are doing a lot of activities, music. So the atmosphere, the new stadium renovation completely changed the atmosphere on the games. We have been growing in number of season ticket holders. We went for 12,000, 40,000, 60,000, 20,000, and now we are 23,000. The stadium of 26,000 seats, so we are almost sold out. And I think that it has helped a lot to be the club we are now. The renovation of the stadium completely changed everything. And during match days, we are doing a lot of different events, concerts in summer. So the stadium is now really in use. We open also different kind of businesses. We open a new sport bar that is, in the day by day, it's crowded. We are having all the games from La Liga, from the Champions League, so people are coming to the games, but all the kind of sports like golf, Formula One. This weekend we have a Formula One event. So there's a lot of different kind of things that makes people come to the stadium on non-match day.
The podcast is produced by O6, but more than just being a production partner, they're also active members of the Sports Pundit community. Having seen the work they're doing across the industry up close, working with leading F1 teams and Premier League clubs, as well as top creators. I'm so delighted to now have them on board and helping to elevate this show to a new level.
We're going to open a football park at the stadium, an indoor football park, 1,500 square meters. So this is our day by day, no? So having more people, more businesses, more options for the city, no, to enjoy this big facility that, as you said, was so close 340 days per year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Obviously, like a fairly unique aspect of where you're based is that Mallorca is a really, really popular tourist destination. So as well as obviously having a really strong root within the local community, and like you say, you've got 23,000 season ticket holders. So that's, I would assume, largely people from that local area. But then, you know, with that last 3,000, I guess, allocation within the stadium, there's probably a lot of people that are visiting Mallorca. Maybe they want to watch a LaLiga game while they're in town. Maybe they're over for a week. Maybe they can use the clinic and get some sort of special treatment or advice. Maybe they want to visit the football park, watch F1 in your sports bar, that kind of thing. So how do you think about the opportunity, I guess, that exists quite uniquely, I guess, for Mallorca in terms of being such a popular tourist destination and having such a high amount of, or such a high volume of visitors coming through the city that maybe are just curious about football rather than being kind of passionate fans of the club? And how do you balance that with also keeping the local side of the fan base happy?
yes, well, the island is amazing. We are 1.2 million inhabitants in the island. In the city, we have 450,000 inhabitants, and we are receiving 15 million, 15 tourists every year. So it's completely crazy. Well, our big industry is the tourists, and this is our big challenge. We are very focused in terms of who we want to be, who we want to tell we are. Our storytelling is always based on our culture, our traditions, and our island, no? And this is what we try to tell, no, to everyone. Come to our island, our nice island, and you have a nice place to come during the match days. Of course, you can join La Liga games. You can have in a nice stadium with different kind of levels and experience where you can join the match. And on non-match day, we have a lot of tourists coming for tours, and as you say, coming to use our businesses around to go to the sport bar, etc. And also, so of course, that the tourism is a important part of our identity, let's say, and of course, are always our fans first. And this is why we build and renovate our state thinking on our fans. We are 23,000, but those that want to join us, that's great. We want to grow. We want to be, if not the first team of those tourists that are coming, we can be the second team. When they come back home, they want to follow the club because they like the island, because they enjoy with us, because they engage with our fans and the way we live our match days. So I think we have a good balance, no, with respect to our fans, but of course that tourists and those are visitors that are coming to the stadium.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the other part to that is a big part of the redevelopment of the stadium was also to add more opportunity for hospitality and kind of the more premium experiences. There'll be some local people that want that, but also tourists that have, you know, propensity to spend at different price points, right? Some might want to just come general admission, but there might also be some tourists there that have more money to spend. And so there's an opportunity there to capitalize on that kind of spending power while they're on the island. So how have you developed out that hospitality offering, and what is your kind of thesis around, you know, hospitality and experiences? I guess that's something, again, where you can learn from your experiences going to the States and seeing how things operate there.
So yes, when we did the renovation of the stadium, we thought how to go to the next level in terms of hospitality areas and do something really different. We try to be very innovative, very disruptive in everything we are doing in the club. And we want to be unique in the Spanish league or among European clubs in terms of hospitality. So of course that we completely renew the general admittance stands, seats, etc. for our fans. And there are fans that wanted also to join, or anyone that comes to the stadium, they can choose how they want to join the match, which is the experience they want. That's why we have different kinds of levels in terms of GA, but also in hospitality, where we have 7 different kinds of hospitality areas. So there you can choose. You can be close to the action. It means close to the bench. You can be very close. Just you can touch the players, and this is an amazing experience. Not to be there seated. You see how the players are warming up. You see the coach of both teams there fighting in the match. So the experience is unique. You have a nice tunnel with 360 tunnel with glasses, so you can see all the what is happening inside. No, just close to the locker rooms. No, when the players come from the bus, when they go to the pitch before the match, so you can see the action that was happening behind the interviews. So the experience is really, really, really good. And then we have a nice big building that we did in the North Goal, when you can see our Tramontana mountains that are UNESCO heritage, and on the other side you see the pitch, completely glass, so you can see both sides at the same time. And the experience there is also amazing, with a big terrace where you can see the sunset. Really a unique experience also. And everything we try to do very open, glass, light. We have very good weather in the island, so we have to take advantage of that. No, so we have like terraces also on that tunnel places and areas, and also the experience we try to give to our fans after the games. So our players after the games are going to these terraces that we have. The players are there with the families. Naturally, we started this. We were demoted in the third division, so we did what we call a VIP corner. In the corner, we put some tables and some chairs, and during the game you can watch the game there in the corner, and after the game the player comes. So we have tried to set up this culture, no, where the players after the game they come with the families and the fans are joining them naturally. So this is still happening. I always say we have to switch off the lights, because we don't go home after the game. We can stay here 2 hours after the game, having something and enjoying after the games with everyone. And one of the other things that has happened is that the island has around 30% of the population is foreigners resident in the island, mainly Germans, British, and Nordic countries.
Yeah.
They were not used to come to the stadium because probably, well, the stadium was not the best. But now with all this new area we have, they are coming now. So they have become hardcore fans. They are shouting. They are there with the flags, with the and suffering with us. No, so they have converted into new fans with the new stadium, and they are there. So we have a lot of Germans, a lot of British joining us and helping us, no, and becoming new fans with our local fans. So I think that the stadium is a representation of the island, no? Multicultural, is international. So this is how we are, and this is our reality.
Yeah, I think the other thing, and we spoke about this a little bit before we started recording, is like, often we're speaking about the business side of sport on this podcast, but one thing that is outside of the control of a lot of the executives that come on the podcast is the actual results on the pitch. However, creating initiatives like the stadium, which can then bring in revenue from things outside of the match day, creates a certain level of a safety net outside of completely being reliant on match day revenues and prize money and TV rights that come through from purely on-field performance-based metrics largely. So, diversifying that revenue stream, I guess, has been something that's like critical to a lot of people in the industry, and a lot of people are looking for new ways to find those more diverse revenue streams. Are there other areas that you're particularly excited about or interested in when it comes to bringing in kind of new revenue streams to the football club that don't rely so much on performance?
Yeah, completely. We have to depend. I will not say performance, but at the end, the performance is directly goes to our revenues on TV revenues, TV rights. Okay, so we have to depend less on TV revenues. Okay, so the more revenues we have from other activities in the club, the less dependence we will have on TV. It means the less dependence we will have on the pitch. But overall, what we have to do is having the more revenues we can. We have all these kind of things in terms of ticketing, new sponsorship, new activities with these new businesses we have, everything we are doing on match days with events, courses, etc. It will mean that we have more revenues. We depend less on TV, but we have more revenues to spend on players. So all the increase on revenues that we have had in the past 3-4 years, everything is reinvested on the pitch. And that's why we have growth with better players, with better value of our squad, and with more chances to be in the first division. So this is what basically we are trying to do, no?
Yeah. So a lot of the conversation so far has been about people coming to you and to the island, and then being the kind of hospitable host of these people when they're there, or the local community. But the other thing that Mallorca has done very well is, Mallorca signed some very good players from the sort of Asia Pacific region, people like Kubo from Japan and Kangin Lee from South Korea. And so by signing these players, how have you then leveraged, I guess, the momentum that comes with the kind of increased interest from markets like Japan and Korea in terms of taking Mallorca to those places, as well as welcoming them, obviously, to the island?
Yes, well, in terms of being more international, our brand, our club are more recognized worldwide. We have around more than 100 million audience on TV. That's really important. And when you see the map where people are watching our game, it's crazy. It's everywhere. The globalization nowadays is really amazing, no? But we're very focused in 3 markets, basically Asia, Japan, then Central Europe, that is Germany, also UK and Nordic countries, and US. In Japan, we have been always a strong club in Japan because we are historically in LaLiga, we are the club with more Japanese players in the history of LaLiga. That's why I think that the Japanese understand who we are, and they have been following us for years, for a lot of years, no? And don't tell me why, but we found those opportunities of like Takekubo that was 2 seasons in the club. Now we have Takuma Sano, that is a Japanese player that was playing in the national team. So we have continued having Japanese players. To be honest, it has not been something we have been focused on. First of all, is if the player is a good player for the squad, perfect. But we are not looking for a player just for commercial reasons. This is not the way we work.
Yeah.
But it happens. So we have continuously been a top 5 in terms of views in Japan among all European clubs. So it's amazing, no? So we are traveling a lot there. Our main sponsor is Japanese. It's Taika Corporation through Alpha Gel, one of their main brands that they have. So we have a really close relation and connection with Japan. We're traveling there 2-3 times per year. We are doing activations there. We have fan association there. We have an agreement with Shimizu Sports, that is a J-League club. So there's a connection there, natural connection that we are working a lot. We have Kangin Lee. On those 2 seasons that we had, Kangin Lee was crazy with Korea. And with Koreans, they travel here. We have like 300, 400 Koreans every game attending to our games, just following Kangin Lee. But it's true that when Lee left, they left also. We have a few still following us, but was not like when Kangin Lee was here. But Japanese and the Japan market has continued following us. So that's a difference. And with Germany and UK and other countries, well, as I explained you before, it's our market. Here we have a lot of Germans traveling, UK, British, traveling to the island and living in the islands. So we are working a lot on that market with influencers. I've been doing things there and attending to different fairs and conversations, having conversations there. And US, because our owners are from US, because it's the place to be in the next 2-3 years because of the World Cup and how the football is evolving there. And despite it's not the top 5 sports, let's say, in US, and it's a difficult market to be, we are working together with LaLiga to promote the club and our brand. We have 3 main sponsors are from US, that is World of Hyatt, Specialized, and Nike. So we are there and trying to grow in US, but now we know that it's really complicated.
Yeah. I guess the most famous export to come out of Mallorca is Rafa Nadal, who does have a big visibility everywhere in the world, but particularly in the US where tennis is very popular. And obviously Nike being a sponsor of both yourself and Rafa, I'm sure is also helpful. And having an owner that I guess is a former professional tennis player as well, that can fully lean into that. I think it's fairly recent, right, that you awarded Rafa Nadal an honorary demon, which is the mascot of the club. But embracing a figure like that has, I assume, a big knock-on effect in terms of awareness for the club from fans of Rafa. So, how do you think about the opportunity, I guess, to bring him more into the fold with what you're doing and leveraging the fandom that he has now that he's not playing anymore?
Well, Rafa, I think this is a natural relationship. No, he's from here. The club is the number one institution in the island, no, and it's a sport. He's a super fan of Mallorca. He knows he's watching all our games. He knows all the players, so he's always suffering together with us, no, and he's normally attending to our games. He's coming 2-3 times. The agenda is us. Probably he's going to have more free time now, but he's always there, no, and we have collaboration with them as a nutrition company, NDL, and he's sponsoring also the club. So we have this stretch collaboration. Our coach was in his academy giving a speech there in the academy. So we have this natural conversation and relation with him. He's a super athlete. He's the number one Spanish athlete in the history. And I will say one of the top, I don't know, the top 3, top 1 in the history in sports worldwide. And for us, it's great to have him close and him collaborating with us and take a part somehow of our project and what we are doing. It's amazing to be with him.
Yeah, no, that's great. I guess as we're coming towards the end, the last question I'd like to leave you with is just to give you an opportunity to say what, and given the roller coaster journey, I guess you've been on over the last 10 years, it's not always possible to forecast exactly how it's going to go. But what do you see the next kind of 12 to 24 months looking like? And then kind of maybe what's the vision slightly longer term than that?
Well, right now, very focused on this season. We always have this double view, no, the short term, that is what is happening during the season, and try to put all our efforts on having the best squad and the best players for us. And now fighting a lot, because LaLiga is a very demanding with a high level of teams. And I will say that there are like 12, 13 teams that are always to be there fighting, not to be relegated. No matter if you have been 5, 6, 7, 10 years, there will be like those number of clubs that are always to be fighting. No, so we have to continue fighting to stay in LaLiga as a first goal, establishing LaLiga, become a top 10 club. That we are now very close to a top 10. We finished 9th. We went to the Spanish Cup final and we would finish 10th in the last 3 seasons, and also playing the Super Cup, Spanish Super Cup. So we are there. We are very close in terms of revenues. We are also very close to the top 10. So we will say that we are close to the top 10, but always looking to stay in LaLiga. Now that this is where we're secure, not to continue growing. And at some point in the future, be close to Europe, go to Europe one season, come back, try to, at some point, going to Europe. Last season, we were very, very close. With 3 games to go, we were just 2-3 points away from Europe. And well, in the last 2-3 games, we were not ready to go, no? But I think that we are there, growing and be closer to that positions, but always thinking that we have to be in the first division. This is our base and our big goal.
Yeah. Okay. And then obviously it's hard for you to look too far ahead, but in terms of the plans of the ownership group, maybe, like what do they envision for Mallorca, 10 years from now? You're 10 years in, like 10 years from now, like what's the ultimate vision? Maybe less so on the performance side, because I guess you can't really comment on that, but the hope would be that you can push into being a top 10 club consistently and playing in Europe. But off the pitch, what's the hope or the objective for Mallorca?
Well, continue growing as a club, continue growing our brand recognition, and helping our community. At the end, we have been here for time, and we have to continue building and helping the community. This is really important for them. And to establish those values and this culture in the club that make us be different and try to help as much as possible to this centenary club to continue being there as an important institution locally and at national level.
Thanks so much for that. I really appreciated talking to you today. It's been great to dive in a bit deeper than what we were able to do on the panel a couple of weeks ago, and wishing you the best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Sports Pundit Podcast, kindly produced by the amazing team at O6. I'll include more information about the guests and the topics covered in the show notes. Head to sportspundit.co to find previous editions, access the newsletter, and to sign up for our WhatsApp group and see upcoming social events in cities around the world. See you again soon.